Walkie check. Check good.
Walkie check.
Good check. Kim for Wendy. Go for Wendy. Paris and Mr. Lyons are walking here now. Fantastic. Have her bring him right to the green room. Copy that. Can I get some folks in the theater to put the furniture on the stage, please? Copy. Floor team, can we fly the guests in, please? Copy. House team, can we close the house, please?
Copy, closing it now.
All right, is the guest at the front of the house? Yes. All right, let's fade the music out, let's lose the slide, and cue the lights. You guess.
VAS is a way of bringing professionals in the industry in film and television, screenwriting, animation to DePaul so that we can have informal conversations with them. They're usually moderated by faculty, and the students get the experience of having people mostly outside of Chicago, but sometimes in Chicago, come to the school. And then in order to support that series, a class was started that was meant to train the student crew who would then run the events.
VAS, it felt like, yeah, we were learning and yeah, we were students and we were practicing, but we were also doing real things that got put online and that represented the school, and we were interacting with these real guests that actually worked in the industry.
I will just say, I'll know I'm at DePaul. This is the most well-lit interview I've ever done at one of these things. Very impressive.
It's live, and you don't get that on most narrative things. Like, it's lower stakes because you can always do another take, but in live events you get one take and it better be good.
Hey Sam, for Wendy.
Go for Wendy.
There's an alarm going off in LL 106. Should there be somebody I tell about that?
Yeah, security is aware of it. That would be me. You set off the alarm.
Got it.
There's something addicting about this. There's that satisfaction of pulling something off where you're like, 50 things have gone wrong. There's a dumpster fire out in the alley and the fire alarm's going off and this is going wrong and this is going wrong, but you still pull together a great show and you still watch people walk out of the theater going, oh my God, that was amazing. And you're like, I fucked up so many things, but you think it was good, so I guess it was okay.
When Wendy described it, it wasn't exciting to me, right? Putting lavalier mics on people, I'm like, oh yeah, I've done live sound. I don't really like live sound that much. And what she didn't include in her explanation was how great the people were.
So it's not something that's formed by a clique of students that are only, keeping in their own kind and the people that they like to hang out with. Anybody who wants to do VAS can do VAS. And so I think because of that, and also just because of the general atmosphere, and I think it's probably a self-perpetuating cycle, but it can be a very special place for people to come and feel like they're welcomed and like it's okay for them to ask questions, and it is a learning environment that's pretty special to this school. You can see many different kinds of people come here and succeed in this environment, which is not true of other places in the school.
I've never really been around people like myself that were not afraid to be themselves, and it was just easy to be open and honest with others and stuff and not be afraid of my voice or my mannerisms and stuff.
Oh look, there's no asshole. Wow.
My first quarter as the stage manager, and we didn't realize this right away, but about halfway through the quarter we realized that the crew was predominantly queer, which is not a thing that happens in film school. And that crew especially really bonded on a level that I don't think that I had seen before and haven't necessarily seen since. Part of it was the VAS aspect, was the fact that you're working together for 12 hours and you're right on top of each other and you're in a lot of stressful situations and you have to get along with these people, and that bonds you. And then also, once we kind of figured that out, everybody felt like it was an automatic safe space to talk about things that they wouldn't really talk about in other classes.
For my first year at DePaul, I basically didn't leave my dorm unless I was going to class. I was just totally stuck inside. Being close to people in class that I was in class with was foreign to me. I would always sit in the back and not talk to anyone. But in VAS, you don't have that option. And so you make friends, whether you think you will or not. And it was terrifying at the time, but it was really good, and it's really improved my life in a way that's hard to grasp.
Think I'd ever kick it with you. None of you are going to heaven. There's a trillion aliens cooler than you.
It becomes very rewarding because it's something you can really be proud of. And because we're all working together towards this one thing, and because of that support that we give each other, because we know mistakes happen and we know we need to keep moving, it creates this really close-knit feeling.
And caring about things, that's something I used to think a teacher can't teach until I saw Wendy teach this class. She reinforced it with students that people should care about what they're doing. Like, why waste your time? And Wendy always said laziness was the enemy. So Wendy's kind of a overachiever. She's a very hard worker.
Yes, people are going to make mistakes. It happens all the time. Nobody's perfect. And yes, I have really high standards that I try and make students meet, but they're not always going to meet them, and that's okay as long as they give a shit. That's all that I ask. Like, just care. Just want to do better next time. And if you give a shit, you're gonna do great in life. And that's the thing that keeps like circling back around to VAS. It's like when we have our debriefs after an event, it becomes like a life class. It's not just about the events. It's like, you know, what are the skills that we're learning that are gonna carry over into the real world? I love that about it. I love that it's not just like, hey, what happens when you screw up? It's like, you know, what are you gonna do when this happens to you outside of school? How are you gonna handle it? How are you gonna, you know, make sure that you're giving 120% all of the time, and what's that gonna do for you no matter what your job is?
VAS has been a really meaningful thing to me in a lot of different ways. It means more to us than having like a graduate scholarship. It means more to us than the events. It means more to us than sitting at the TriCaster or sitting at the sound console. There are so many positive things about visiting artists that we all want to nail down. What is the most important thing? It's a lot of intrinsic reward.
And that's why this program works, is because people give a shit. Like, if they don't, it doesn't work. Those are the days where you walk out of VAS and you're like, oh, well, okay, that was fine, I guess. Versus the days where you walk out and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe we pulled that off. I can't believe this happened. I can't believe that happened. That's when you have the best work, is when you care.
Students come in and profoundly change the way the program works, and all of the students' experiences in their wake. That's something I can't quantify. I mean, that's incredible to have each student crew experience influence and affect the next student crew experience, but in a way that just makes it bigger and stronger and bolder and more amazing every time. It's incredible. It's like it's got its own life to it that does make it immortal, does make it this thing that's bigger than all of us, and that's so great.
It's such a tough question. I don't think anybody can quantify why we're different and why we're special. You know, everybody has slightly different reasons and slightly different theories. You know, sometimes it's the experiential factor, sometimes it's the community, sometimes it's just the nature of live event and the fact that this is so different from everything else. A lot of people don't understand that this is a class and don't understand that these are students. And I want to try to give a little bit of a voice to that. I want to try to show, you know, what this is. My experience at DePaul has been very deeply rooted in VAS. I would not have finished my undergrad degree here at DePaul if it weren't for VAS, let alone gone on to get my master's degree here. This program has really shaped me as a person, as a filmmaker, as a storyteller. But it's not about me. It's about the community. It's about all of the people. It's about the program. It's about so many things that I just can't quite quantify. I can't quantify it.
You last question. Open the house. To wrap it up.
I run VAS. That's what I do.
What is VAS?
What is VAS? Do you want like the corporate answer?
Okay, it's just that
So I was always the old guy, and it seemed like all the young students had Party Channel, and they were all nice to me. And then some days I had learned about this Party Channel. I'm like, hey dudes, why aren't I on the Party Channel?
What the hell is the Party Channel?
I don't think we were cool enough to be on the
I don't
Party
think we
Channel.
were either.
It was a huge success, and I wouldn't have that in any other train.
The sentence you just said is, I wouldn't have that in any other
train. I wouldn't have had it in any other train, guys.
I just kind of said that without thinking about it.
Flapping jowls.
Oh gosh. This is why I should never be recorded.
This is why you should always be
You never knew about Party Channel?
What the hell is the Party
I
Channel?
heard people had another unused channel that they called Party Channel, and they would chat about where they were going that.
Wait, were you cool enough for that? So yeah, I hope I said that eloquently. I feel like I didn't. Hopefully the documentary will speak for me.